2002 Chevy Corvette Z06. Finally getting around to installing the Supercharger pulley and some headers. I've got some impact tools here. I've got some anti-seize. I'm going to start with removing the supercharger, so I know I'm going to have to clip out or cut the clips on the drain line. I need a 3/4 inch ratchet, box end. I'm going to use the open end, 14 millimeter, and a 1/2 inch. I think I used the smaller one the last time, the 1/4 inch drive, but I'm going to have to pull out a 3/8. Got a few impacts lined up. The instructions that came with the supercharger, and I've already pulled out the battery and the plastic covers that go on the valve covers. Up top here, there's going to be a lot coming off. Been spending a few days back and forth spraying all of the manifold bolts on the top side with penetrating spray, and then the 3 down below where they connect there as well. We're going to have to take supercharger out, take the belt off, take the alternator out. These should all come off with the bracket, the coils. I have to take the spark plugs out, disconnect the air injection lines, and then on the driver's side, we'll also have to take out the line that's connected to the brake booster, which this vehicle might look a little bit different than others because there's a manifold there for a few things tied to the supercharger. One other item to note is the catch can has been loosened up. Cringing a little bit at doing this, but here's the bottom of the supercharger, and here's the oil line coming down. This is just for draining the oil, which I've already drained it here. This is a self-contained unit. It's a P1SC1 Procharger. So anyway, this line runs down, is zip tied here at the top of the radiator. You can see a bunch of Tessa tape, just additional protection. And then here again, have it zip tied. So I'm going to cut these. I'm not going to show it in the video because it's going to be hard to hold the phone and cut those. And then that line will be loose. I did try to get a 5/8 wrench on here, but it's difficult to rotate, and it's hard to tell in the video. But this part stands pretty proud, and it's getting in the way of turning the wrench, aside from only being able to swing it maybe a 1/16 of a turn. All right, so 3 zip ties were cut. There's actually one that was set behind here. It's difficult to see. All right, zip ties are cut. This line was fed back up, and it's now resting here. Gotta try to keep it away from power steering cooler. Anyway, I'll unbolt the supercharger, and that will come straight up. So this is an older style Procharger tensioner. I'll try my best to explain it, and this is off of memory. So some of these items might get reversed, but we'll figure it out as we go through the video. It's a semi-automatic tensioner, so it'll tighten a little bit with a preload, and then as you adjust the tensioner, which is this lower bolt down here, for the adjustment, you'll now line up these 2 notches. I'm a little bit over tensioned on this one because there was some belt slip, and this is how this has been for a number of years. It runs just fine. It's actually the original belt that came with the Procharger kit. So on the other end of this is an arm. It's going to be difficult to see, but the pulley that's on the tensioner is right here where my finger is. So what's going to happen is we do not touch this side. The whole tensioner will come apart. We touch this one, which is a 3/4 inch. This one, which is, I believe, 14 millimeter. Loosen them up, and then we can make adjustments here, which will loosen or tighten the belt. All right, so you want to do the small one first here. I've already moved it about 4 times from here to here. I'm just going to leave my wrench on there. Well, I get out of the way. And then with the 3/4 inch, I'm going to loosen this one just a little bit. I got the 1/2 inch on here. I can only turn it a little bit at a time, but you can't see it from there. As I tighten this nut, can see that I'm getting closer. I'm going on this notch on the left is going from this further notch down to this upper one. So I'll do this for a bit and then I'll pick up the video again. Just something to note, my socket is kind of trapped here. So I'm going to recommend using a box end, 1/2 inch here. All right, I just want to do my best to show where this pulley's at. So now the pulley's down the bottom here. I did have to give it a little bit of manual finessing, just push on top here, and it went click, went back in a position. This is very loose here. I could tighten it by hand if I wanted to. So there isn't any tension on the belt right now. Nothing significant. These sheaves on the Supercharger side, they have a very thick border on the end. One other thing I'll just point out, the 4.75 inch pulley. So what I'm going to do is go around on the driver's side and pull the belt off on the alternator, which isn't so aggressive on the pulley. All right, so you can see the belt's pretty loose here. I'm going to try to keep the belt as close to this position as possible because the alternator is going to come out as well. And I don't want the belt going all over the place. It's going to be a nuisance to wrap it all the way around at the bottom around the crank. So let's see if we got this loose enough. Looks like we do. I'll just walk it off. All right. I'm just going to lay it here and hope that this kind of holds it in place for a while. With the belt off on the one side and it's not taut, I'm just going to pull it off the Supercharger here. I'm just going to lay it on the side. So I think I'm going to end this video here and I'll pick up the next one. I'll do one video for taking the alternator out, one for pulling the Supercharger.